Here we are with the video number 2 of the chapter Theory Basis of Accounting. Here in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the remaining further principles, and in this particular video, we will be discussing about the two principles, and these two principles which we will be discussing here is money measurement principle and accounting period principle. So let's discuss first what is this money measurement principle. So children, already we have gone through what is the utility of the term principles and why actually the principles are being derived and how it is being derived. Now the next principle here we are going to discuss here is what we call it as a money measurement principle. So money means a term, it's a very common medium of exchange and a very basic important unit of measurement in case of any business organization. Hence, this principle says only those transactions and events which we can measure in terms of the money are to be recorded in the books of accounts. As you know, the money is a common unit which is used by everybody, and it's considered as a common medium of exchange. For example, if my business wants to purchase a property worth rupees 20 lakhs, hence this property's value 20 lakhs is what I can say that is actually a unit of measurement through which I can measure my property. So similarly, in case of a business, all those things which can be measured in case of the monetary value or which can be numerically expressed, that should be recorded in the books of accounts. That's what this principle says. Because while making up the financial statements, we cannot record those transactions which can't be measured in terms of the money, because the financial statements, it's a data which has been prepared based upon the monetary values and the monetary information. So children, so this is actually an important aspect of this very particular principle. Hence, this principle is called as measurability principle. That is the reason we call this principle as to be a measurability principle, and the basic reason is it focuses on the quantitative information. Quantitative information means it basically reflects or just it pays attention or it emphasizes on the numerical values or the terms which can be expressed in the numerical figures. Rather, it ignores all the qualitative aspects. Now, the next here it comes is, due to the features of this money measurement principle, it is not considered as a complete principle in itself, just because some of its limitations, as just we discussed earlier, some important limitations of this money measurement principle is it ignores the qualitative aspects such as the skills of the employees, their efficiency, their sincerity, and etc. As you know that how important the efficiency and the sincerity and the skills of employees and as well as the skills of the management are needed for the success of any business organization. And this principle ignores these qualitative aspects, and these qualitative aspects are, as per this very particular principle, we cannot record it in the books of accounts. Another important demerit of this very particular principle is it ignores the price level changes. It ignores the valuation, or it ignores actually the changes in the prices of the commodity which takes place due to the inflation, because the value of the money is considered as actually static. It's considered as to be stable over a period of a time. It does not changes. So though the price increases, but exactly the price level changes that can't be measured by that of the money. So hence, we can say the second demerit of this money measurement principle is what? That is, it ignores the price level changes. So now the next principle we are going to discuss after that is what we call it as a accounting period principle. So children, as we have already seen earlier, the business has got an unending life. The business has got an indefinite life as well, because any proprietor, if they wants to start up a business, so they believes or they want this, that the business should continue or business should have a long lasting life, because long lasting life of a business, it means that the business is able to survive with its profit. The more the profit that the firm will be having, the more there will be a possibility of its survival. Hence, this period, accounting period principle is an extension of an assumption. That's what we discussed earlier, is what we call it as a going concern assumption. Okay, whereby we believe that the business has got an indefinite life, or the business has got an unending life. Hence, in such a situation, when we say that the business has got a long lasting life, or the business should survive for a longer duration, so it doesn't mean like at the end of the year or at the end of these particular time duration, we should go to assess the profit and loss for the business, because there won't be any kind of a possibility in such a situation. We will be able to evaluate the progress of the business. Hence, it is kept mandatory in case of the businesses that a regular progress reports of the business needs to be prepared. So the accountants needs to prepare the financial statements, for every specific time intervals, or for every specific time duration. Hence, we can evaluate the profit and loss for the business, or even we can take up the remedial actions if required for the business. So it is decided as per the accounting association bodies that actually the life of the business needs to be divided into certain time intervals. So therefore, we will be able to identify the profit and loss of the business, or we will be able to identify the progress of the business, and we will be able to suggest the proper remedial and the proper necessary measures for the growth and improvement of the business. So therefore, according to this very particular principle, that is actually there is that is certain accounting periods which has been decided. So these accounting period which has been decided is, the first is what we call it as a calendar year. It is called as a Gregorian calendar year as well. And so normal year, the normal that is a calendar year which we people used to follow on a daily basis. Am I right? That's what we call it as a Gregorian calendar year, starting from 1st Jan to 31st December. Okay, and the second year generally which we call it as a financial year or a fiscal year, this is a year, generally we can say this thing, that which is generally been followed by the companies, or it has been followed even by the government as well, in order to prepare or publish its financial statements. The companies prefers to publish its financial statements generally following the financial year, and you may be knowing about it, the government budgets and all the necessary, the financial transactions of the government and its closing is being done as per the fiscal year or the financial year. This financial year or fiscal year, it starts from the 1st April of an year to the 31st March of the next year. For example, if my financial year is starting from 1st April 2019, hence it will be ending on the 31st March 2020. This is how a cycle of the 12 months is completed over here. Now children, it depends upon the company which particular year or as an accounting period it wants to use it for the purpose of, or for the purpose to publish actually the financial statements, because it is mandatory for any particular company which is registered under the Companies Act 2013 to prepare its financial statements as per these accounting period which has been given to them. Okay, either it can be the calendar year, either it can be the financial year or the fiscal year. Now there are certain interim time durations as well. Okay, there are certain interim time interval as well, like actually within also the company can publish its annual report, and the purpose behind is what? That is actually to keep on check or to keep on checking the performance of the company. Hence actually some kind of a necessary action can be taken before it becomes a big trauma for the company, for the improvement purposes. So these time intervals generally within a year, interim time intervals, that is within a year, even the company can use it for the preparation of the financial statements is called as either on a monthly basis, or it can be called here that is on the quarterly basis as well. So children, this period says what? That is an evaluation of a business performance need to be done regularly at a specific time interval or at a specific time duration, then only we will be able to identify the correct profit and loss account of the business, as well as we will be able to get the correct picture of the business. Hence, we can say this principle is an extension of the going concern principle, which assumes that the business has got an unending life. As we believe in going concern principle, the business has got a long lasting life. So we need to take up a necessary preventive measures to evaluate the performance of the business, to evaluate the profit and loss of the business, and that's what we are doing here in this accounting period principle. So this principle believes that dividing the entire life of the firm into certain intervals, hence therefore we will be able to measure the profit and the losses of the business, either of any of the things which may happen in case of the business. And this principle, based upon its feature or based upon its nature, it is also known as, that's what we call it as a time period concept, as well as, and it's applicable in case of the both the cash basis and it is applicable in case of the accrual basis of accounting as well. Children, we have seen what is this cash basis, and in the accrual assumption we have seen what is this accrual basis of accounting basically means. Okay, so this is a common principle whether a firm is following a cash basis of accounting or a firm is following a accrual basis of accounting. Either of in any of the cases, if we will talk about, we are following this very particular principle. Now the next here it comes is, after that we are going to discuss here the certain other important features of this particular principle. Here it comes is, as this particular principle is what we can say, that is actually the major important principle, or it's a one important principles amongst the various principles which is being used in case of an accounting. Now here it's an assessment time. So there are few questions given at the end of this very particular video. Let's discuss those questions. So children, actually go through these questions, answer these questions, and send me the answers as earliest as possible to grab the marks for your assignment. Okay, so let's see what are these questions basically. It's a very general questions. I hope that you all will be able to answer it. So the first question is, which principle assumes that the business has got indefinite unending life? The answer is very clear if you are going through the video. Second question is, which principle is used commonly in cash and accrual accounting? The same, just we recently discussed. And the third is, as per which principle the entire life of the business is divided into time intervals, and also name the time intervals. Okay, the same thing, you can write it down, you can go through it. The next here it comes is, state two advantages of the time period principle and separate entity principle. Separate entity principle is a principle which we have discussed in the part 1 video. Okay, so just go through that particular video. That is, you will be able to answer the question number 4 as per that. Now the question number 5 is, according to which particular principle the capital is treated as to be a liability for the business? This is also related to the video number 1. And the next is actually the question number 6, and the last question here is, you need to identify a principle and assumption which are related to the time aspect, or you can say that which is also called as an extension of an particular assumption. So children, these things, if you will listen to the video carefully, definitely you will be able to answer these questions. They are very simple. So just please get these assessment questions done, and please do send it to me, send a pic of it, so therefore I can evaluate your assignment marks based on that. Thank you children for watching this.